one of the most important things you can do immediately is to start to learn the power of the words that describe your music. It's a really hard thing to do, and you might need to ask your friends for help because it's hard to describe your own music. But here's the reason why it's so important. If everybody here was being played on the radio, then your music gets to speak for itself. Your music is just being put out there to the world, and people can hear it and decide if they like it or not. If you're playing a live concert, then you're there in person playing your music, and people sitting listening can decide if they like it or not. But those are the only two places where your music gets to speak for itself. And unfortunately, your music won't get to those places unless you do this other stuff first. So on the internet and in press, all kind of print media, the words that describe your music have to be so good that people will go to the trouble of hearing your music and finding a way to go listen to your music. That might mean you need to make them go out to a club on a Thursday night at 11 a.m. to hear you just because they liked the way that somebody described it to them. Or on your website, the descriptions of your music need to be so good that people go find the play button and go listen and then have their MP3 player open up and wait for that to load or download. There's some effort involved. And unfortunately, the words that describe your music have to be so good that it makes them go to that effort. To think of this from the flip side, you know, the typical musician thing to do, if somebody says, they see a guitar on your shoulder, you know, and they say, oh, you're a musician, what kind of music do you do? Most musicians go, you know, it's like kind of everything, man. We do all styles, you know. It's you really can't describe it, but come check us out, man. Thursday night we're playing. You're really gonna dig it, right? So now, imagine this from the flip side, right? Imagine you bumped into somebody wearing a suit and tie, and you went, oh, you look like you're in business. What do you do? And they go, well, you know, I mean, we got stuff. I mean, it's like there's income and there's expenses, and, you know, we kind of, you know, it's like, you know, it's like a lot of, it's like no other business, man. You really just can't describe it. But hey, you know what? If you go half an hour out to the suburbs, man, we got a store out there. We're only open after 11 p.m. But come out there late at night, man. You got to check us out. Now, would anybody go out of their way to go check out this music if the guy couldn't even describe to you what the hell they do? So this is like a typical musician problem, and they wonder, well, nobody seems interested in my music, man. It's like, because you haven't found a way to make people interested in it. So my biggest advice is that when somebody says, what kind of music do you do? What they're looking for is not some kind of phrase that's about to explain your existence on Earth. And it doesn't need to describe every note you're going to ever create in your career. It just needs to be a few words that make them more curious about you after they asked. So that if they say, what kind of music do you do? And you say, we sound like the Incredible Hulk having sex. People go, dude, all right, I got to hear this. or even if, you know, in a more normal example, if you say, we're a cross between James Brown and the Beatles. People go, James Brown, Beatles? Huh, okay, I got it. Where are you playing? Let me hear this thing. And that's all it took. You don't have, you can just stop. Just say an interesting phrase and stop. Just make them curious and then shut up. And then give them a way that they can take the next step, and give them your web address, tell them where you're playing, something, getting people interested in your music, make them go to the effort of hearing it. So it has to start with some interesting words to describe your music.